The holidays are rapidly approaching and people across America are getting their gifts ready to be sent all over the country. But in Bismarck, post offices might be overwhelmed by the amount of packages coming in. Ariana Gonzalez tells us why.
This fall, the post office started to close its satellite locations in family fare stores around the capital city, shutting down 4 of them. A spokesperson with the grocer's corporate office said the Postal Service made the decision to close the sites. Many Bismarck residents are disappointed that the only post office able to ship their holiday packages will be the one on Rosser Avenue.
It's inconvenient for me to have to come all the way downtown, and it's going to be, I expect, a long wait because everyone's probably all coming to the same location now.
The remaining satellite location is in a family fare in Mandan. That and the 2 main post offices in the Bismarck and Mandan area give postal customers a lot less choices when mailing holiday packages. Postal Service spokesperson Susan Wright says this change is part of a larger process around the country.
Postal Service is in the middle of a modernization and transformation process, and we've determined that other local offices are very well equipped and able to handle any volumes that were handled by those satellite stations.
However, users of the Bismarck Post Office on Rosser have been watching employees struggle with the amounts of people and packages coming in through their doors.
The wait time in the post office is absolutely pitiful. It's gone from bad to worse.
And they only expect it to get worse as it gets closer to Christmas.
It's going to get crazy. It's going to get real crazy.
Wright says as their peak season approaches, to make sure to ship your packages early. In Bismarck, I'm Ariana Gonzalez, reporting for your news leader.
You can still buy postage stamps at family fare and other locations.